Hello, welcome back to the Kay Steinsapir podcast. Hi, friends. I'm so excited to be back with you. I hope you didn't think I gave up on my podcast. Never, ever. Um, I have been on a little hiatus, an unplanned hiatus. I told you all that I was going to start having guests on. I had my friend Stephanie Renner on. And then my second guest, I did a Zoom recording with her. We had a great conversation. And then I couldn't find the recorded Zoom afterwards because I had to leave right after we finished talking. I had to run to school and pick up Eli. I was running late because we talked for so long and I was just enthralled with the conversation. And then when I got back to my desk afterwards, the recorded Zoom was not here. So I realized that I'm terrible at, I already knew this actually, but I realized that it would be more helpful to have more technical skills at this because I really don't have them. And it's easy for me to just sit here and talk to you all by myself, but that's not a very interesting podcast. Much as I would like to just sit with all of you and just drink coffee together or drink a glass of beautiful wine together and just commiserate about life. I would love to do that with all of you. But of course, an interesting and meaningful and useful podcast involves more voices than just my own. That was never my intention. So, in order to bring those voices to you, I was like, okay, I need to probably look into having help with this. And, coincidentally or not, I don't really believe in coincidences ever, but my friend Stephanie Renner, who just happened to be my first guest here on the podcast, is starting a podcast of her own. And she is working with, a more professional group to help her with that. So, of course, I was like, well, I better talk to those people. Maybe they can help me too. Maybe I should see what's out there. Turns out when you start looking into this, there's so much you can do with podcasts. There's a million different things. Obviously, this is a whole professional industry for a lot of people. And that was never really what I had in mind. I mean, I just wanted to try this. I was writing on Substack. I saw you could do a podcast on Substack, and I was like, hey, why not? Let me try it. So it turns out with my little experiment that I love doing this. I still want it to be just the same kind of authentic, unfiltered podcast that you have come to know and love and expect from me. But I am also going to get some people to help me because I don't have time or the technical ability to really properly do the steps that have to be taken to have the guests and do the recording and do the uploading and all of that. That's way too much for me. So anyway, I've been working on that and then just trying to figure out, because I've had to think about these questions, like what kind of podcast should this be? What do I really have to offer? Do I really have anything to offer? I mean, I thought about that. Like, is this really, there's a million podcasts out there. Like, is this really even something that makes sense for me to do? Is my voice something that needs to be added to the mix? I mean, I think sometimes, we all think that we have something important and unique to say, and I don't know, we don't sometimes. But what I do know is that I've had a really unusual life. I've had a really, really unusual upbringing. And I went through cancer and I lost my daughter and my town burnt down and, that's not even all of it. I didn't mention that another thing that happened was John developed appendicitis and had to have emergency surgery. And that led us down a whole unexpected detour of our lives as well, which is what also led me to be on hiatus. So anyhow, I do think that I have something worth saying or that I'd like to say. And I think what I would like to focus on and where I can be most useful to people, much as I love to like shoot the breeze and talk about politics and all the current events of the day, because there's just so many of them. It's so insane. It's hard for me not to. But there's a million people doing that. I think where I can add value and be helpful to people, because that's really what it's all about for me, is kind of an extension of what I do on Substack with my writing, which I just titled, Transforming Pain into Purpose. And I think I'd like to focus on that with my podcast. And through my advocacy work in the breast cancer world and now in the grieving parents world, I know hundreds of people. I've personally talked to hundreds of women who have been newly diagnosed with breast cancer. I founded and moderate groups both for breast cancer patients and survivors, as well as grieving parents, that are amazingly impactful, wonderful groups. And I want to bring those voices to you. I believe that, a lot of us go through challenges alone, and we don't realize that what we're going through is actually just the human experience. It's just life, and it's happening to many, many more people. We just aren't hearing from them, and we just don't receive their stories always. And a lot of people are, silently suffering through really difficult things, and we don't even know that about them. So I want to focus on bringing that to you. And what I try to do, and it's not the way, certainly for everybody, but this is what I try to do, is I try to find purpose in all of these difficult things that life has given to me, to face as challenges. And otherwise, it's just the bad thing. It's just that Molly died. It's just that, I mean, it could never just be that, but like, you get what I'm saying. It's like it can't just be the terrible aching loss and grief and anger and sadness and all of those things. Like, I can't survive it if it's just that. Like, it's got to be also um also a way of giving something back. And I didn't survive the things I've survived alone. I survived them because of um, other women who had breast cancer before me, and um, they didn't have to, but they reached their hand back and they pulled me along up that mountain that they were still climbing themselves, going through treatment. But they reached back and they extended a hand to me, and I kept extending my hand back. And um, that's that's what I really think that life is all about. And so that's what I want to focus on. And similarly, we had grieving parents reach out to us. Fred Gutenberg, who lost his daughter Jamie at the Parkland High School shooting, was somebody who I didn't know, who just reached out to me early on. Nelba Marquez Green, who moderates my grieving parents group with me, she lost her daughter Anna Grace at Sandy Hook. Uh, Nobody understands it like somebody who's lived it and who is still living it. So um, I'm just paying forward what people like Nelba, like Fred, like my friend Suzanne, like my friend Erin did for me. And I think there's something very moving and inspiring and empowering and positive and wonderful about that part of the human experience. And we need that now. We need that because we need a lifeline. Those of us who are struggling need a lifeline. And I think everyone benefits from just seeing that there's still so much good in the world, and that even when really terrible things happen, there there is still beauty, and there is still something to wake up for, and there is still the unexpected in the future, and wonderful things can happen that you don't anticipate. And so you've got to hold on and hopefully hopefully have faith and not give up and believe in the unseen and the unexpected and know that like anything can happen, just like terrible things can happen, wonderful things can happen, and they do. um anyway, I digress. But that's what I'm thinking, and I am working with some folks trying to figure out kind of what should I do? How do I know what I'm doing. I know the concept. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly who I want to bring on, but it's like because this is not a podcast with sponsors or anything like that, it's like, okay, how much money do I spend on doing this kind of work? And what makes sense, so those are all questions I'm like trying to sort through. But if you're listening to this, thank you for coming back. Thank you for sticking with me. Thanks for believing in me. I really, really appreciate it. It's been really, really tough with everything we're going through in the Palisades and with our house. And we just moved for what I hope will be the last time before we go home to the Palisades. And it really, it was too much for me, honestly. It really took a lot out of me. And we don't have help at home with the kids like we used to, and that's tough. Of course, many people don't have help, and I grew up, my parents didn't have help, and as soon as I was old enough, I was taking care of myself. So I totally get that. But um, after Molly passed, and I was still, I still deal with the effects of cancer and cancer treatment. I'm on a drug that's a really tough drug to handle. I've been on it for God almost 9 years, and I have about another year left. So it has some pretty gnarly side effects. So for that reason, and because we lost Molly, we decided to try out the au pair program. We had two wonderful au pairs living with us. For together combined 2.5 years. So that went away at the same time as the fire went away. The fire caused our town to go away, and all of this upheaval happened. And, that was a wonderful, opportune moment. I decided to launch a podcast because, hey, we don't know how much time we have. That's kind of been my attitude. It's like, who knows, who knows what tomorrow will bring, and who knows how much time we have. So let me just try to do everything I want to do, and then pick and choose what I want to focus my time on. And this is something I want to keep. And thanks for, kind of being with me through all of its, kind of fits and starts. And I'm going to be back soon with, I don't know what, with definitely with guests, because I'm going to have someone help with that process so that I don't delete interviews anymore. And we'll see what else. Definitely a cool new background. I haven't been able to do that yet, but I want to have like a fun little background and everything. So stay tuned. I shall be back. In the meantime, have a wonderful summer, and I will be back with you soon. Thank you.